So all you aficionados of comedy, come on, let's get going. How you guys doing?
Hey. Great, Richie.
Thanks for having us. Thank you for showing up. Frankie C.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to New York.
It's a pleasure to be back at my hometown, New York. I was born and raised in the Bronx, and now I'm living in the sixth borough, Jersey City. So I'm back here working the open mics.
Well, let me ask you something. You've been in California. You're back in New York.
Sure.
You're a New York guy. What was the major difference that you found being out in California for, 25 plus years?
Yeah.
And coming back?
What was the big difference?
Yeah.
The drugs. Much better drugs in Los Angeles.
Ah, I see.
Better.
But it doesn't show on you, you know?
Well, I didn't use them, but they were there. They were there.
He doesn't know the right people. Definitely. I've lived in LA for 10 years. You were clueless.
Obviously.
This is where the drugs are.
Oh, there you go.
But I should have taught.
But I'm at, the drugs that I do now are Metamucil, anything with Medicare on it. That's what I'm into now.
Well, that's the best. This way you stay healthy.
Hey, health is wealth.
There you go. And now, from the New York Times top-rated comic, the man with the ideas, the connections. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Lawrence.
Thanks for having me, Richie.
How are you?
I'm good. I definitely think the drugs are better here, but I'm sober. I recently celebrated 1 month sobriety. Don't
This
clap.
time.
I celebrated with a Cabernet Sauvignon, and now I'm back to 17 days.
There you
But,
go.
you do the best you can. It's comedy. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, I miss cocaine, not that it matters.
Well, listen, you have to do whatever you have to do, but you just got back from a European tour.
That was correct.
And you were with not the infamous, but the famous Bob Dylan.
I performed years ago. I was a member of Bob Dylan's entourage during the Grammy Awards. I actually auditioned through my agent, and they asked me on the audition if I could make Bob Dylan look cool. And I was like, I don't know, I can make him look alive. And they cast me right away. It was an awesome experience in Radio City. I got to see Stevie Wonder. I had a conversation with Pavarotti and Sting, just the three of us sitting there like that.
And now you're here in Norwalk,
It's all
Connecticut.
downhill.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
downhill after that. How do you top that?
You were the creme de la creme. Any funny stories that you can tell? Any material that you got out of that?
There was the guy, that was the famous year that Soy Bomb, do you guys remember Soy Bomb? He ripped his shirt off and he had Soy Bomb written on his chest, and he ran on stage and started dancing next to Bob. Now here's what happened. Right before the night of at Radio City, they pulled some of us aside and whispered something to some people. We didn't know what was going on. Right in the middle of Bob performing for 1 billion people, Soy Bomb, this crazy performance artist, rips off his shirt and a Soy Bomb written on it and gets up next to Bob and starts doing these contorted art movements. We all looked around that were behind Bob like, what's going on? And I thought that the people they whispered to were the people they did this to. And my feeling was, no way am I not going to be a part of this. And I was 2 seconds away from ripping off my shirt when the casting director came out and carried the guy off.
What?
We didn't know what was going on. And then they wanted to ban us from the after party, but we...
And I hear this guy now is an agent of William Morris.
I think he's dead. No, so
That's
that's
some experience.
Yeah.
And Mike Markovich, how are you, Mike?
Good, doing great. Thanks for
This
having
is the
me.
breakout comic. Mike is the headlining comic amongst all the showcases in the city. He's a producer of his own shows,
Yep.
and he is the next breakout comic. Mike, what made
Thank
you
you.
get into business, by the way?
What made me get... I was just telling them the story right before we get in here. I myself was in a rough place in my life and, just going through some stuff. My cousin asked me to make a toast at a wedding,
Okay.
all right? And the first thing I said to myself was, I gotta make this funny. You know what I mean? I gotta make this funny. That's the first thing I thought. So I did. I made the toast at the rehearsal dinner, and I just was like, well, when can I do this again? You know what I mean? Like, when can I do this again? Just walking around, hey, you guys getting married? You need a toast? You know what I mean? Like,
What's some of the
just
lines
messing
you did?
around,
What's some of the material you did then?
It's not so much material as much as observations and, just like a bold statement, because I'm very opinionated.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I get upset, like really upset, like when ugly people tell me they can't get laid, you know what I mean? Because I feel like they don't stay out late enough. You know what I mean? I feel like if they stayed out late till like 1 o'clock, you know what I mean? Like your chances
So what's
increase,
one
that
of the
kind of
best
thing.
lines you developed out of this observational genre that you like to put yourself in?
Well, going along these terms, what I was saying, I decided to open a club for these people, for the ugly people. This is one of my great bits that I ended up going with.
Okay.
And it's really cool because I figured it's only going to open at 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
right? And only the ugly people can go there,
Ah.
right? So I'm going to call it Sixes or less. So, great.
Get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Catchy, right?
I get it.
A little out there, I don't know.
All you sixes out there.
I'm just saying, if
But there was never a 10.
looking for a business partner, yeah, Freddie, come on.
But Frankie
We get all the
C-
threes.
yeah. Frankie C., you came out of the Bronx, the rough and tumble Bronx. Talk about a milieu, a mix of people that draw inspiration as well as observation
You
from.
know, I came out of the Bronx a long time ago, and I go back visit just to touch base with my peeps, as they say in the hood, and because I speak hood, and when I came out of the Bronx, I've been doing this almost 40 years. I can't believe it, and people have probably never heard of me, and I would basically say, don't do it like I did. Basically. When I got out of the Bronx and went to Los Angeles, well, I made it big here in New York. I made a nice big splash. I was on the New York Times as the best new comedian in Greenwich Village back in the day. And that took me out to the Comedy Store in LA, where I became a headliner for about 10, 15 years, something like that.
But not only when you were in the Comedy Store,
Yeah.
you had top names coming up to you, Robin Williams, Jimmy J.J. Walker, Letterman. They all were promoting you as the next breakout king.
And I showed them. I really showed them.
But Jeff,
I have him as an ex-breakout grandpa.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Very good.
but there's camaraderie, as you can see, there's camaraderie among comedians because there's that struggle that everybody goes through. I mean, Jeff, you had it hard, but you're a seasoned comic now, but you came up out of the ranks where, it was tough to make it, break in.
It's really tough, and they always say it's really tough for. I remember Ralphie May was talking,
Yeah.
and he said it's an incredibly brutal sport, and it's really tough for women. And I had a conversation with him a while back, and I said, "How about gay men?"
Yeah.
And he went, "Whoa!" And when I started, this is how things have changed. When I started, I would go up in Times Square rooms,
Yeah.
Broadway, these
Yeah,
places,
sure.
and I would, early in the set, I'm gay, I'm Jewish, and you could just see people in the front. A lot of these people, Midwesterners, Southerners,
Sure.
Christians, old ladies from England, and you could just see them tighten up, and I didn't know how to handle that.
They probably
And
thought you were happy.
I was happy. Yeah. Well, also, I don't think I'm your stereotypical. I'm not the decorating king. You know what I mean? But I did just feng shui my apartment.
Now that's all they want,
You
right?
guys should do it. Now all the roach traps face east.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it
This
happens.
is how things have changed. They used to get uptight.
Right.
And I learned to just make jokes about it. Even stupid jokes, like, relax, I'm not going to break into your house or redecorate your furniture. Dumb shit that would loosen them up,
Yeah.
and they would laugh.
Right.
And now the audiences have changed a lot. And I'd say in almost every show I do, you're going to see at least one or two gay couples or a table of gay men. That never happened in comedy clubs. And of course, everything's politically correct now.
Yeah.
So I'll make jokes like, I'm not a faggot, don't you? I'll say that word, and they all get uptight. All the straight people. I'm like, what are you getting uptight about?
Yeah.
I'm the gay guy. I can say that. There's political correctness.
Yeah.
So things have changed, and there's a lot of younger
When you say
gay
politi-
comics.
when you say
breaking
political
through.
correctness, and you do gay jokes, but you're a gay man.
I do straight jokes too.
Straight jokes also.
I'm just
but-
not good at them.
But let me ask you this: Can a non-gay person make gay jokes?
Well, of course, but it's how it's done. And Dave Attell did my show at Stand Up New York years back, and he said faggot here and faggot there, and everyone's looking to me.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, I'm the expert on homosexuality. I'm like, I don't care because I wasn't offended. I'm the kind of person, and this is just me. Nothing offends me. I'm very lucky that way as a comedian. There isn't much you could say, and I've heard some very derogatory remarks. I've had a comedian follow me once and wiped down the mic and said, "I don't want to get AIDS."
Well, that's a stupid person.
That is
yeah.
stupid a person,
Yeah.
But
What I don't understand is, you go to people going to comedy clubs. I mean, everything should be fair game. I mean, you're at a comedy club. Sometimes I say that on stage
Right.
when I say something that might be a little bit out there.
Right.
I mean, guys, look at the sign, comedy club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, why you getting offended?
What
We're
makes you
making
laugh?
jokes.
What makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh?
Yeah.
Oh man, am I allowed to say?
This is, don't, you got to keep it clean.
All right.
Keep it clean.
No. I like observing life. You know what I mean? I like seeing things in life that, we all go through the same experiences in life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think what we do is our job is to really connect with those people, but we do it through humor. So me personally,
Right.
all right, I like edgy, racy stuff.
Okay, when you
something
open your
something
app-
uncomfortable.
When you open your show,
Yeah.
you come out on stage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mark Markovitz. What you open on?
Well, Mike Markovich.
The host would say Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Anyway,
It's true.
Mike?
It's true. Right, but I don't know. I always start off with something about myself. Like my opening line would be, got a weird compliment the other day. This girl, she looked at me. She said, you look a lot like Tim Tebow if he let himself go. Right. And I like to do that because I can make fun of myself. Let us make fun of everything else too.
Self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff does that about himself. He does typical lines that, will ingratiate him with the audience. Like your opening line, you come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jeff Lawrence.
I hate this time of year. It's the fall because I get depressed. What do you call it? There's a name for it when there's less light in the day. It starts with an S.
Sunshine?
Suicide. Yeah, I get it. Suicide really bad, but I can't do it. And here's why. I'll tell you. I have a balcony, and I'll go out on the balcony and I'll actually lean over, and I'll look down and I'll think, and then I realize, wait a second. I have a balcony in Manhattan. Life's not bad.
Plus you
Pretty
got a
good.
parking space.
Say that again.
Plus you got a parking space.
No one has a car, Richie. You have a car. You live in Connecticut,
He
in
has a car.
Stanford, with a garage, 2 kids, but there's a basketball court in the back, and a pool, and gluten-free food in the fridge and all that. I don't live
don't
like
have
that.
cars.
I live in Chinatown.
Now, there you
Can't
go.
hear no more.
There's enough material right there.
He doesn't have a dog.
I see my landlord for the 3rd time.
Yeah,
Frankie C.,
Yo,
you still live in Jersey now, right?
I live in Jersey City now. Yeah.
But how do you communicate? Are you on Facebook? Are you on LinkedIn? Any of the things like this?
He speaks.
How do I communicate? I talk, basically. But Facebook, LinkedIn, why do you get LinkedIn, a bunch of people out of work talking to each other about being out of work? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Comics aren't on LinkedIn that much, aren't they?
I don't think much.
I don't think
Comics are
much.
Twitter,
Twitter,
Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
By the way, with this political situation going on, you guys must be talking about, if you have material or not, about what's going on in the Middle East, what's happening with the elections, with Hillary Clinton. There you go.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me
All right,
something.
we think this stuff is crazy, but we talk about it so much, we live it. Few weeks ago, we got out, comics, me and a couple of friends went out, got drunk.
Yeah.
All right, and we were talking about the campaigns and everything. I got one of my comic buddies so drunk, I convinced him to get a tattoo. All right,
man.
Trump 2016. He got it on his arm. All right, and it was we tried, he was drunk, trying
was
to
a
wash it off
harrowing
the next
experience.
day. But the best part about it is he's a comic. Who else would do something like that, right? And he said to me, this is going to make a great bit someday. And I'm like, yeah, for me, thanks. But
I got to tell you, Richie. I mean, I don't. First off, if something compelled me, if something was really funny that I thought, I would talk about it, on camera or not. But my feeling is I don't really have anything. I don't want to be the seventh comic of the night doing a Trump hair joke or Hillary. It just doesn't. I will say this without trying to be funny.
Sure.
Is this me or is this the worst presidential candidates I've ever seen? I mean, there's just like nobody.
I'll tell you.
I mean, nobody like rocks me as I'm comfortable with you running the nation. And I'm a liberal, I'm a Democrat, whatever. But I got to tell you, Trump is certainly the most charismatic of this crew, and he talks a lot of sense in certain ways, and that is that
He's a racist, a sexist.
Yeah, but he's honest, But here's the thing: it's like, listen, what is the all-time highest presidential rating in the last 30 years? I'll tell you, it's when Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky.
Sure.
That is the highest a president has been, which shows we want honesty. We're just tired of the lies and the BS, and we want brutal honesty. And you
And
get
easy
that
jokes.
from Trump. I'm not saying I'm voting for him. He's
No,
dangerous.
but Trump resonates with the majority of Americans because they're tired of the games and all the corruption that goes on in the political world.
But he's saying the rich have it too well. The rich do not pay enough taxes. There's no more middle class. He sees that, and he's smart. He knows how to win this election, and that is you appeal the masses of the middle and the poor, And he's like, look, this is what we got to do. And he's right. Listen, we're a nation of the very rich and the very poor.
My buddy who got the tattoo, his name is Jason Scoop. He's a comic as well. He has a great joke about it. He talks about it all the time.
You can do it.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
I mean, I got a tribute to him, but he has a great joke because, yeah, I know. But like honestly, he goes out and he says, "Listen, what I love about Trump is, Jeb, these guys, they're like, I'm like you. I try to be like you, and Trump's not like that." He just straight out goes out there and says, "I have billions and billions of dollars, and I'm better than you, and let me show you how to do this."
Right.
And it's hysterical.
There's enthusiasm, and they sense there's this truism, the way he speaks. He doesn't come off of a script. He just shoots right from the hip.
Because he can't read.
But
But basically,
again, he's an
let me
engaging
just say
personality.
my take on the candidates, quote candidates that we have. It's like they're all auditioning for Horrible Bosses 3. I don't like any of those people, and yet these people are so ambitious and so like it's my turn to be king or queen, whatever the case may be. That's what I get out there. And what Trump and people like him are populists bringing out, what I like about what they're doing is they're bringing out that there is a dark side in America that really is frustrated, but that they're also hateful. There are people that hate people for being different, And when to me, he's a clown. Trump comes off like some big white Thanksgiving Day balloon clown, floating through America.
Well, I don't know if he comes off like that, but what I can tell you, he does come off as somebody that can get the job done. I believe that he can get a job done. I'm not here promoting
I
any
can't.
particular
I know a
candidate.
tattoo shop. If you really
I don't think he can get the job done.
Oh, I think he can get the job done, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The big thing now is you got Marco Rubio, you got Ted Cruz drawing a heavy Latino vote. The background, that's their background, and they're not emphasizing that. They're emphasizing as being the anti-candidate. They're not part of the mix, although Rubio is. Ted Cruz is not so much, Trump's not, and Ben Carson is not. So what I'm saying is that the people don't want the typical politician anymore. Somebody once said, politics is too important to let politicians get involved with.
But you two, can get the job done. Don't you think, and this is what I think, don't you think, what I've seen, no matter who gets elected, 50% of the nation, 50% of the Congress, 50% of the Senate is going to fight everything they want. It goes Republican for a while, Democrat for a while, and there's no real change. And when you talk about, they just read some statistics on Obama, and these are shortcomings. Unemployment is down. Our debt is down. Every area has improved, yet people are saying he's one of the worst presidents. So I think no matter who you bring in there, the problem with America is that we never can have a majority thinking together to get things done. What do we need? What do we need done?
What we need done? More
Healthcare.
laughter.
Yes.
That's what we call this
Right.
comedy and more.
Serious.
We did some comedy, but this is the and
This
more.
is the more.
Now we gotta get back
It's
to
the
some
more.
comedy.
Yeah,
I want some lines. Somebody throw some lines out. Somebody throw some material.
Some lines? I'm sober from cocaine.
Yeah,
You wanna
you
throw out
can't.
some lines? I'm sitting next to this guy who thinks the drugs are better in L.A.
Well, Frankie C is the Zen comic.
Yeah.
Are you the Zen comic?
I am the Zen
Why
comic.
are you the Zen comic?
Because this is the silence. This is the silence.
Because no one left.
And if I put the two together, I have no career. That's basically it.
But you are the joke. Those-
I am the joke. That's what I forgot.
Yeah, see?
That's definitely I am the joke.
This is it. I'm not supposed to do your punchlines. You're supposed to do your own punchlines.
I can't remember them. I'm busy worrying about the country right now.
Well, we got to forget about
I
this.
know, it's
People
real
out
too
there
serious. He went on a whole Trump campaign.
Listen,
Yeah.
We're
worry
just
about
the guinea
the-
pigs in
This
this.
is not the
about the
Donald
country.
Trump show. This is not the Donald Trump show.
I'm first born in this country. My family, they left Russia, all right, to come over here.
Yeah.
So to me, as serious as it got, it's a great thing. Like my father, he's got the thick Russian accent. He's the whole thing. We must leave this country. There's no toilet paper. Like that whole thing, going on. This is great for us to be here. So he's not a huge Trump guy, but he's not a huge Putin guy either. You know what I mean? So let's, it is what it is. You work with what you got, kind of thing.
Now, Jeff, what made you get into show business? You weren't in show business before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was a rock singer. I was a professional rock singer.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've been in show business for 30 years.
No kidding.
Professionally.
Wow.
I've had some day jobs, at times, but I was a rock singer, signed, had a couple record deals,
So you
toured.
became a comic when you started losing your hair because you're going to be a rock singer.
No, actually, it's still there. I just shaved it. It's a little bit
Because
fuzzy.
these rock stars, they got this bouffant thing going on,
No, basically what happened was I was a rock singer, and my band at the time, we were really industry darlings, for lack of a better word. All the labels are interested. I was the rock singer. We had a big five, played with guys from the Cult, big LA bands, and basically I was closeted. And if you look back at the time of rock and roll, look at Michael Stipe from R.E.M. He was closeted. Even Morrissey from the Smiths, you can't get gayer than that. And he wouldn't come out as being, so I couldn't. I had no role models. And it was a very dark place for me to have fake girlfriends and I was becoming a public image and figure in L.A. And it was too much pressure. And I came back to New York. Long story, but the record label folded. I had an accident, and I got addicted to drugs and painkillers and everything else. And that was when ecstasy was hitting the gay scene. I came out, became a big gay kingpin, drugs and parties and the circuit, and I knew the stars. And Boy George was at my birthday party. Pee Wee Herman was at my birthday party, and I bottomed out. I had turned 40, and I got into recovery. I got into a 12-step meeting. And have you guys ever been to? You're supposed to remain anonymous. That was a trick question. Mike, come on, be more. So I bottomed out, and it was in the rooms that I made people laugh. That's where I didn't know how to be accepted at any point in my life. I never knew how to be accepted.
That's the greatest acceptance, when people laugh at you or with you. See, as a comic, it doesn't matter whether they laugh at you or with you, as long as they're laughing. Teachers would say in class to the students, "Yeah, you think you're funny? You don't think you're funny, do you?" You go, "Yeah, but they're laughing, ain't they?" Yeah. So that's the key. That's the key. And I'll tell you something else. Being a comedian, like for me, I got in other industries before. I was a teacher or whatever, and I would draw my humor out of that. For example, I would say, I haven't always been a comedian, but one time I taught in the New York City school system. I was a speech therapist. So that comes out of my own background. And truth, see, there's always that element of truth in comedy. You're very truthful, what you're saying. You're very truthful. You're saying us your background. So that's what comedy's all about, but you gotta hit that nerve. You gotta put that twist in there that gets the laugh. Whether they laugh at you or with you, it doesn't matter. Because as a comic, you want that laugh. That's your Shangri-La.
Oh, that's how you work.
Yeah.
It's like a drug in itself, too, that laugh.
That's
to be
also
honest.
the trick is basically finding your own truth. I find I deal with a lot of comedians, and you deal with a lot of comedians, and a lot of people who want to be comedians. Let me put it to you that way. And what they want to do is they want to basically make people laugh from their thoughts. What I think is funny, how do I translate that to them? And there's a fear factor that people have when they do stand-up. In the beginning, it's very fearful. And even at certain parts of your career, there are fears that come in. Am I still funny? Can I still do this? Oh my God, I don't want to do this. Oh, my relative just had cancer and stuff. This is a very difficult thing to make a living at, trying to be the funny man, professional funny man or funny person. That to me takes a long time to do. What I see with the open mics and what Jeff Lawrence does with his Laughing Buddha is that he allows people a safe place and in a controlled environment in the clubs where you can come in and do that, and it's controlled in the fact it's not anarchic. You're going to get on, you do it, and then whether you end up being a comedian or not, you will be a better person for having done it and not 10, 15 years later think, God, I wish I would have tried stand-up.
Why do you think it's so? I mean, I've been a rock singer, I've been an actor, but nothing was as terrifying as stand-up. I thought I got this. My first show was at Gotham, and I just shook
Yeah.
like I had Alzheimer's or something, Parkinson's, whatever. It was terrifying. Why do you think we're so scared?
I got to disagree with you. I'll tell you why. I was never scared. I'm not to make that any pompous or anything like that.
Well, some people.
I was never scared. Why? I'll tell you why. Because when I was a kid, I was always a class clown. In elementary school, middle school, high school, college, I was always making people laugh. So one thing I learned in business, when you come out of your own natural base, you will never lose that ability to make people laugh. Because it's something that's been with you for a long time.
So are you saying you were confident? Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's say that you're in a rare
You were
exception.
blessed. You were blessed.
Yeah, and you're you're an
blessed.
exception. Why do comedians, especially early on, get
Because
so
I'll tell you
nervous?
why. We are raised in this society, in the American society, where basically you're supposed to be, they say you be an individual, you should tell the truth or be yourself and all that. But in our everyday lives, whether you're in school, family, church, or job, that's the last thing they want you to do is say the truth.
What's the last
You know?
thing you want? I agree. I think
Public
that's
speaking too, I think.
Huh?
Is a lot of people have a fear of public
I
speaking.
think it's a combination of, it's public speaking, it's being in the lights on stage,
Right.
and it's also that you are going to tell a room full of strangers
Yes.
every night deep personal things about your life, your marriage, your
It's
sexuality.
free therapy.
That's what it is, therapy and truth. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for coming and watch Comedy and More with myself, Richie Gold, and the illustrious comedians, the stars we have here tonight. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.